Okay, we just arrived at the forest preserve for our first time. Hello and welcome to Gaia Geographica, a podcast about geography and the environment. My name is Amanda Vanderkellen and this is Pyewacket Vanderkellen, and we're both Virgo pescatarians, which is important, I promise, because today's video is going to be a deep dive into feline nutrition. Specifically, what do I feed this growing little girl? This is her first trip to the forest preserve, so come along with us as we go on an adventure. So I wanted to make sure that she was forest preserve ready. So she had her first vet visit last week, where along with her routine shots, I made sure she had her flea or her tick prevention. And that was after doing some research. I had to remember if it was either Frontline or Revolution, ironically enough. So Frontline, no, Frontline was bad, Revolution was good. So we got her on Revolution Plus to start our leashed and harnessed outside adventures. In preparation for Pyewacket's first vet appointment, I wanted to take her outside so she could get used to her harness and leash and the carrier that I got for her. I had picked out these items for her just before I brought her home, so I had gotten kitten size. And little did I know she would get really big really fast. I adopted Pyewacket from my friend Jen Rowry, who is on TikTok and YouTube at Cowboy Jen. She is notorious for rescuing and rehoming kittens from her Iowa farm house. So Pyewacket and her litter mates were born on a farm in Iowa around September, and they were found just around Halloween of last year. And when I got Pyewacket from Jen, she was already spayed and had her rabies shot in her first round of shots. However, when I took her to the vet this time for her first vet appointment here, to get her follow-up shots and get her microchipped because she hadn't been microchipped yet, the vet said that she was too young by Illinois standards for her rabies vaccine to count, so I had to get her shots done again, which is totally fine. Illinois has a more strict policy in terms of the age for vaccinating cats for when it is actually when the vaccine actually creates the antibodies. If it's given to the cats too soon, the antibodies aren't made, and so it renders the vaccines essentially moot. So she got revaccinated, and she got her microchip at her first vet appointment, and she was such a good girl. However, we did note that she is a whopping 11.4 pounds at almost 9 months of age. That is larger than any domestic cat I have ever had. And looking at pictures of Pyewacket's litter mates that Jen had sent me, it is very obvious that there is Maine Coon breed in her, most likely from Daddy, who I've started to call Big Daddy, because of course we don't know who the dad is in every rescue cat situation. You just don't know. And while Jen had noted, she had mentioned to me that it is really unlikely that it would be a Maine Coon, it's very obvious, especially looking at her litter mates, the distinctive facial features that are hallmark of Maine Coon genetics. And for Pyewacket, she has the characteristic ear feathers, is what I call them, the ear fluff of a Maine Coon. And I also noticed early on that her bone structure was really large. Like when I was when I was petting her, I noticed that her chest plate was actually quite massive, and that struck me as interesting. And I just didn't know. I hadn't seen really many pictures of her siblings before then. So I wasn't quite sure what it meant, but I figured that when I took her to the vet would let me know one way or the other, what that was about. So when I took her in and noted her age and her weight, the vet she got her feline physical. The vet said that she is in fabulous health and she's not overweight, even though on paper she is 11.4 pounds. And I hadn't mentioned anything about her breed because I just didn't think of it at the time. But then, going back through looking at pictures of her siblings, it is very obvious that there is definitely Maine Coon in her genetics, and she is like the Clifford, the cat version of Clifford. So I have been doing a lot with AI recently. I have been using it as essentially my own personal assistant. Which has been wonderful. I use just the free Gemini AI tool that's available through Gmail, through Google, and utilizing Gemini's whistles and bells. I have been able to track not only my own health and wellness, but also keep track of Pyewacket. Her health and nutrition, because she is a growing little girl, getting bigger by the ounce, by the day. For Pyewacket, so for my cats, I am notorious about being hypercritical of their nutrition. I started feeding whole prey, all fish diet to my cats a number of years ago, probably a decade ago by now. And Pyewacket loves to try whatever I'm eating. And 9 times out of 10, she will eat it, which is another Maine Coon trait, is that they like to eat. They like to join in as in the social feeding, which I think is fabulous. So I have stuck to the pescatarian diet for Pyewacket as well, even though I am a single cat owner at this time, because I think it's so much better. I think the way that chickens are mass produced for food is just terrific. I just feel so much better, just overall ethically, using fish as the protein source, fish and eggs. So she gets a pescatarian, vegetarian, same as me diet. But, of course, biologically appropriate. So, along with that, Pyewacket gets whole prey fish, dry food. It's 6 or 7 different fish. I think it's origin 6 fish, whole prey dry food. It's grain free. So she gets dry food. Her crunchies is free feeding. So she gets a full bowl of crunchies, and when it's empty, she gets another full bowl of crunchies. And then she gets wet food, which is either the can or the pouch, depending on what it is, twice a day. And I feed her high-end fish grain free. I like Tiki Cat a lot, and also the Simply Nature, I think, is the PetSmart brand. She likes their tuna and potato, and she loves tuna mousse and salmon mousse. And then for all of the pâtés and the mousse, I add in some warm water to make it kind of soupy. So I'm also making sure that she is sufficiently hydrated. And she is. When she went to the vet, she was, I believe the term is euhydrated, which just means sufficiently hydrated. And she gets some just conventional treats. The just the regular conventional treats. I don't do anything crazy with that because she only gets them sparingly. And it is a treat. It is cookies. It is like giving her Cheetos. So, and I'm okay with that. I think that's a very well-rounded approach. And so, noting that she is quite large for her age, it's not just me. It is, statistically, she is large for her age, and that is because of her genetics. It is really crucial that she gets a very solid, biologically appropriate diet. So, giving her the whole prey crunchies is, and free feeding them is giving her an excellent platform to continue to build her large bone structure and make sure all of her parts are at peak. And then also pairing that with the wet food twice a day, she's really getting the optimal nutrition that she needs so she can grow up to be big and strong. I also found out through researching that Maine Coons continue growing up until 3 or so years of age, whereas just regular domestic cats stop growing at 1 year. So to figure out if this hypothesis is true, if she is in fact partially Maine Coon, we'll see if she continues to grow after the 1 year mark, or if she does top out at 11.5 pounds. So that is yet to be seen in the coming months if she continues to grow, which I'm expecting is going to be the case. So yeah, that is the feeding schedule and nutrition profile of what I feed my 8-month-old Maine Coon domestic short hair mix. If you like this content, please do leave me a comment, hit that subscribe button, and give it a thumbs up. And I will see you for the next Gaia Geographica podcast. I like having a good travel companion, so getting her used to the harness, the car, and walking. We've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for it to not be winter so we can get her travel ready. I think that was all in all a very successful first outing. And now that we are done, she is back in her carrier and we're gonna go back to the car. She encountered some strangers, she encountered somebody on a bike. We kept her away from the doggies. And she got some very nice compliments from strangers. So, all in all, I think our first trip to the forest preserve was a success. I'm used to, so with my last cat Merlin, he was my travel buddy. He went on road trips, he went on airplanes, so he got the whole experience, and I can't wait to get started with Pyewacket. Hello and welcome to Gaia Geographica. My name is Amanda Vanderkellen and this is Pyewacket Vanderkellen. Oops. Let's try that again. Hello and welcome to Gaia Geographica. My name is Amanda Vanderkellen and this is Pyewacket Vanderkellen. Oops. Let's try that again.